What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. Full transparency, this is the second time that I've tried recording this video. I got about 6 minutes in the last go, and my face started itching. And I don't edit my videos, so I just had to scrap the video from there. And here we are back now. Barring any more episodes, we will run through this, and I'll show you guys what I want to show you today. I know at this point, after you've read the title to the video, you're probably thinking, "Hey, everything that I've been showing lately has either been Metalhead Box related or Paragon Records related." I know the last, I think, 3 or 4 videos have all come off that way. I will say, without any unforeseen circumstances, I promise you guys that the next video I do will not involve Metalhead Box or Paragon Records. So I don't want to run some people off thinking that's all that I'm going to show. I am on a bit of a buying hiatus at the moment. I don't want to get into the details of that. I will kind of open up to that a little bit later. It's not something that I'm really going to share now, but I have a ton of stuff to work my way through that's just been sitting around. I've been slacking on the videos ever since COVID put me down a few months ago, so I'm hoping I can play catch up. There won't be a lack of content because I still have a lot of stuff to go through. I apologize if you hear my dog. She decided to run in here while I started recording and kind of run rampant through the room and get into everything while I try to record. But I'm not going to cut this one off. We're just going to power through and keep going through this video. What I'm going to show you guys today is what the Paragon site calls the Paragon Records exclusive package deal. It is 8 CDs and a T-shirt. I believe it's like $60 is what they offer it for on the site. As I said, it has been a little while since I ordered mine, but they are still available. As far as I checked, the last time that I checked, they were still available. This will run some people off. The only sizes that they have available in the deal are small through extra large. I know some people cannot get into those sizes. If I don't get back on track eating right, I probably won't be able to fit in those sizes myself either. But luckily, at the time that I made the order, I could, and I can still wear the shirt now. So thankfully, there is that. I'm going to list all of the albums. I'm going to talk about the albums in the video, give you my 2 cents on everything that's in the deal, and I'm going to list all the albums in the description. I will try to find a Bandcamp link or even a YouTube stream or something so you can check the material out for yourself. If you can't get into one of the shirt sizes, but you still see something that you like, I believe all of these CDs are still available on the Paragon site. If they're not, you could probably find these CDs pretty cheap. They're not. It's not going to be anything that's just astronomical in price. So if you find something or hear something on here that you do enjoy and you don't want to do the package deal, you can find the albums on their own. I'm going to go through these in alphabetical order just because that's the way that they're listed on the website, and that's the way I have them stacked here on my table. I've already, as I said, I've had this for a couple of months at least now, and I've spent some time with it. I revisited every one of these albums again today while I was at work, just so I could speak on a little bit fresh brain on some of this stuff because I have had this for so long. So if you guys are ready to hear me butcher some band names and album titles, we're going to jump right into this. First up, we have some black metal. This is a band out of Hungary. The name of this band is Aetherius Obscuritas, and the name of this album is Mártír or Mártír. I'm not sure how they want it pronounced. This came out in 2020. This was all of these albums and releases are obviously with it being a Paragon Records package deal. Paragon Records had a hand in either the distribution or the putting out of the release. They've had some kind of they've worked somehow with these bands and other labels that are featured on this package deal. So I figured, you guys could probably figure that out on your own, but I would go ahead and say that. Aetherius Obscuritas. They've got a lot. Well, I won't say a lot. They have several albums under their belt already. I have heard before this. I had heard I think it was their 2015 release entitled Black Medicine. I was familiar with that release. I thought that one was pretty decent. I didn't think it was anything groundbreaking, and I was kind of expecting more of the same when I listened to Martyr. This is a great album. It's blistering, fast paced, grim black metal. And the first 2 or 3 tracks, I thought I was getting more of the same that I got on that Black Medicine album. It wasn't until track 4, which is entitled as I get as Egos, which translates to um, what true is. It wasn't until track 4 that this album kind of sunk its claws into me. Looking back on it now, I can see that the first 3 tracks, the groundwork was being laid for the best part of the album to kind of hit you and garner your attention and just completely reel you in. Looking back, I could say that the structure of the album is almost absolutely perfect. Just hindsight is 2020. I was kind of just there for those first 3 tracks, and then after going through the album uh, for a full listen, I wanted to go back and kind of revisit those tracks because I didn't feel like I gave them a fair shot. That track number 4, "What True Is," the riffing going on that is absolutely amazing. It's just like Welcome to Riff City from this band. And then track 5, "The Frozen Lake of Eternity." That's one that's just it's the epitome of what you would think this grim, cold, hate-driven black metal would be. I absolutely love this release. I'm glad that I didn't write it off after those first 3 tracks. I'm glad I listened to it in its entirety and gave it gave it a full attentive listen. And it's definitely something that I think you should spend some time with. If you're a fan of black metal, I think you will dig this and enjoy this. So definitely check this one out. Changing gears a little bit for the next album. This is a grindcore band out of Long Island, New York. This is Buckshot Facelift with Ulcer. Buckshot Facelift. This is a band I see. I don't think it was this particular release, but it is a band that I've seen their. I guess it was a prior release. I remember seeing it like in FYEs. There's no FYEs even open around here anymore, but I can remember going through several years ago at an FYE, and I would find Buckshot Facelift albums in the little used and dollar bins. I never really gave them a shot until actually listening to Ulcer Island. This was actually a very good release. It is grindcore. If you're not a fan of grindcore, I don't think you will enjoy Ulcer Island. They're not some shining star of grindcore that's going to convert you over and make you love the genre if you don't already like it. But as far as grindcore goes, it's very straightforward, very well done. There are some moments on this where they kind of dip into death metal, death grind areas. There was a track on here. Let me see. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. Uh, Track number 9, "What Does Fergus Dream Of?" I don't know who Fergus is, and I don't know what he's dreaming of, but that one is just a chuggy, death grindy, awesome listen. That's one of the standout tracks to me. That was probably my favorite track on this entire release. It's 15 tracks. The album itself, I think, is roughly around 30 something to 40 minutes. So, I mean, it's your standard grindcore. You do have some 30-second, 40-second tracks on this as well. But the longer, when they kind of start incorporating the death metal sound and the death grind sound into their music, is when I think they're at their strongest. I am pretty impressed with the vocal attack that Buckshot Facelift delivers on this as well. You have the kind of hardcore screams going on, what you would kind of expect, run of the mill hardcore screams, but then they have these almost inhuman gurgle and death metal sounding vocals on this, and then they have some standard death metal growls going as well. The way, I don't know if it's just one vocalist. If it is, my hat is off to him for the versatility. I would say that there's probably at least a couple members lending their voices to the vocal attack on this, but the vocals on this are just absolutely insane. All in all, I do dig this quite a bit. As far as grindcore releases go, I found this one to be quite enjoyable. Next up, this is what caused me to actually pull the trigger on this entire bundle. My hat's all messed up for taking it off for the vocalist there. And I'm going to butcher this band name. It is the album that I wanted. out of this entire thing starting off, and I wanted the shirt that came with it. The name of this band is Diamond. All right, I'm going to Dimentianon, Dimentianon with a Dreaming Yuggoth. This came out in, I believe this came out in either 2020 or 2021. This album, 2021, I want to say now, looking back. This is another band out of Long Island, New York. The Metal Archives has them listed as Black, Death, and Doom. For me, they kind of sound like Black and Doom and Black and Thrash. I don't really get the death metal elements out of this quite as much as some people do. I am no expert on genres. If you follow this channel, you know I will mislabel things from time to time. But this was what I was looking forward to. This was their first album that they had put out in, I think, 11 years since their last album, their last release. I say last album, the last release was only right at, I mean, it was like EP length, but it was entitled a full length. So when this one came out and it was almost an hour long, I was pretty ecstatic for that. Um, if you're familiar with this band and you don't really pick up the thrashy vibes that I kind of get from this, there is um, a track on here, the very first track, Undying Bliss. I believe that's the one that one, just the 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 rhythmic, and I can't, just the riff that they have going on in that one is so catchy and it's so thrashy. It just feels to me like the what you would it, absolutely have come to your mind if you're thinking black and thrash. And the rest of the album, a lot of the rest of the album kind of lends itself more to a doomy vibe, but there are those thrashy moments, and I absolutely love it when they incorporate those thrashy moments into the uh, into the mix, because they're so good at it. The title track, "Dreaming Yuggoth," that's another one that I really enjoyed. That one has a very very doomy aspect going on this, but good stuff here. I was very impressed with this, especially with them having not put out an album in so long. I think they did a stellar job putting this one out in 2021. The shirt that's included in this bundle deal is for the album. You have the album artwork there on the front, and then it has this awesome artwork there, kind of stoned angel there on the back, and it says, it's some Latin, so I'm not even going to attempt that. I think I've butchered their band name and even maybe their album title enough. So then moving on, this is a band that I was already familiar with. I already had this album when I picked up this package deal. I will try to remember what my initial thoughts were when I first heard this album. It's been out for a little bit now. This is Fornis with Deep Melancholic Wrath. Fornis, they are an Italian um, black and death metal outfit, and I have to put the quotation marks up there, especially with this release. It's a band that I've been following. This is their third full length, and I've been following them for years now, because their sophomore album, it's entitled, I think it's something along the lines of "My journey is ending, but the torment will be forever or be eternal." That album is the one that turned me on to this band. I picked that up from Redstream years and years ago, and when this one came out, I had already jumped on this, so I was familiar with this. Looking back, trying to remember Deep Melancholic Wrath, my first impressions of this release, I put the quotations up for blackened death metal because the blackened vocals are absolutely there. There are times, especially there's an instrumental track that kicks this album off. It's "Experience the Joy of Unhappiness," and it sounds like it is just instrumental, but it has this kind of poppy radio rock sound going on, and you will find that sound kind of in and out of the entirety of this 6 tracks, with the exception of the vocals. This is not a heavy blackened death metal release. It has that very accessible musical sound going on this, but the vocals are able to transform this music into just something sad, dark. It just takes it to a completely different place once the vocals are introduced into the mix. When I first listened to this album, I thought that the vocals were a little bit buried. I wasn't impressed with where the vocals were kind of dubbed in the mix, but as I listened to this, it works. It helps the way the vocals come across. It helps get the vibe, the melancholic, the sad, the almost scary vibe going on with this that they're able to pull off. This is actually probably transformed itself. It's rivaling that sophomore release is my favorite Fornis uh, output so far. So definitely, this is another one of those, like that first album, that I think it requires you to spend some time with to kind of fully digest and fully get everything out of the album that they're trying to give you. But once you do, once that it kind of clicks in your brain and you unlock that area, you just see how brilliant of a release it is, and it is a fantastic release there from Fornis. So I have nothing but good things to say about that band. Anyways, next up, this is one that has been from feedback and stuff that I've seen. It's been one of the higher praised albums out of this entire package deal, and for me, I'm kind of on the fence with it. There are times that I really like this, and I think it's absolutely brilliant, but there's times I'm just not in a mood to hear it, and I'm like, turn it off. I can't deal. This is Ghost Tower with Head of Night. This was originally self-released by the band, I want to say back in 2012. Paragon picked it up and reissued it in 2018. Ghost Tower, they are a traditional heavy metal slash doom slash thrash outfit out of Nebraska, of all places, but they have a very throwback sound going on, a very campy, very low production sound going on in the mix of this. It's the musicianship on this is absolutely brilliant. The vocals, that's a part that some people absolutely just really love. For me, I have to just be in a mood to hear this. Sometimes the vocals can be almost a bit off-putting, especially with the low production value on this. It's just, I don't know, it's not something that I'm going to gravitate towards, and I know some people just might want to slap me around and ask me what's wrong with me once they hear this, because there are some people on my friends list and some people that follow this channel that I know will absolutely love this album. They probably already own this. They probably spin this all the time. But for me, I'm on the fence with it. I can appreciate the talent going on in this. I can see why people enjoy this so much, but I just have to be in the mood for it. And maybe today, when I was revisiting these, was just one of those days where I wasn't in the mood to hear this. I don't want to write it off because the talent is obviously there. There is a fan base and a following behind this enough that maybe it's just something I'm missing. Maybe it just hasn't clicked yet. I don't know. Next up, this is an album that I have featured on the channel before. This is a kind of a death doomy goodness. This is Gray Skies Fallen with Cold Dead Lands. This is their newest release. It came out in 2021. I believe I featured this on a 7 Deadly Spins video in the past, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. Very doomy, very gloomy, very melodic. It's very enjoyable. It's probably my favorite album that they put out since their very first album, and they've had a pretty extensive career. So the fact that they were kind of able to return back to the form of their first, I would say their first 2 releases, for me, this the soundscapes on this definitely were a throwback to those first 2 releases, and that's something that I could definitely appreciate. Good stuff there. If you're into doomy, death doom, melodic doom, that type stuff, I think you will enjoy Gray Skies Fallen. So that one will be linked up in the description as well. And then the last two albums, the last two CDs that I got are both from the same band. They were absolutely new to me coming into this, and I think they ended up being my favorite things that I got out of this whole package deal. Maybe just because I found something completely new that I absolutely loved. But this is a band out of the Ukraine. This is Orbstruct. They are a modern, high production death metal project. The name of their first album is Phobos Rising. Spoiler alert, this is my favorite release of the two that I got. I don't know if it's just because it was the first one that I listened to, but on first listen, I absolutely love this album. This is just death metal that makes you want to, uh, for lack of a better term, if you're listening to this and it doesn't make you want to just grab your nuts and Godzilla stomp around your room, then you ain't breathing. There's something wrong with you. Fantastic release here from Orbstruct. Just I love every single track on this. The first two tracks, Venus and Shade of Death, Shade of Death especially, that's just one that's just chuggy, nasty, chunky death metal goodness. And they put in the follow up to that that came out in 2021. This is Orbstruct with Deimos Falling, and this one is good. It's just more of the same. They sound have pretty similar soundscapes going on between the two albums. I think it just may have something to do with the fact that they were recorded. This one came out in 2020. This one came out in 2021. Great stuff on both albums. It just felt like more of the same. I think maybe if I'd heard this release first, I would enjoy this one more than the first album. But I just so happened that this is the one that just stuck with me. I had this on repeat. I think I listened to this one when this package deal came in 2 or 3 days in a row, over and over, before I even gave the second album a shot. And I was just hooked on that first one. When listening to the second one, I wanted to return back to this one. But I did give them both a spin today, and I enjoyed both albums almost equally today. This one, not quite as chuggy sounding on some of the tracks, more just kind of straightforward, in your face death metal going on. But the production value on both of those is very crisp, very clean. That may turn some people off, but it's just got that modern crisp death metal feel going on for me. So definitely, if you're into death metal and you haven't checked out Orbstruct, I highly urge that you guys do that. That's all that was in this deal, but I thought it was a steal for what I got. I will link up a link to the package deal in the description. That way, if you want to grab one for yourself, you can go get one. If you don't want to grab one just because the shirt sizes or what have you, I will link up Bandcamps or something for each of the albums. So if something piqued your interest and you wanted to go check out, listen to it a little bit more, at least some of the legwork will be done so you can find a copy for yourself. That's all I've got for today. I have some other stuff that I want to show. I am going to try to get back on the CD collection videos as well. But that's all for today. Stay classy, stay metal. I will see you all very soon, I promise.